Hey guys, this is the part 1 of the credit recovery for marking period 1. The main thing that we're going to be talking about in this video are operations with rational numbers. When talking about adding and subtracting integers, we created this flowchart in class together. So if you look at your problem, for example, if you have 3 plus 8, you see that you're adding the two numbers together. So we'll go down the flowchart with the adding. Looking at the signs, I see that I have the same signs. 3 is positive and 8 is positive. So I'm just going to add those two numbers together. 3 plus 8 is 11. And then I'll apply the same sign that they both have. So because 3 is positive and 8 is positive, my answer will be positive 11. Now if I had negative 4 plus negative 5, I'll add together 4 and 5, which is 9. And then because they are both negative, my answer would be negative 9. Now what if I was adding two numbers, for example like 3 and negative 4, and I have different signs? Then I'll go ahead and follow this track right here, where it says I need to subtract the absolute values. So 4 minus 3 is 1, and then I need to apply the sign of the larger number. So in this case, 4 is the larger number. Because it is negative, my answer is negative 1. If my signs would have been flipped, so I had negative 3 plus 4, again, I would have 1. 4 is still the bigger number. It is positive, so my answer is positive 1. If I'm subtracting two numbers, so for example, if I had 4 minus 5, I can go ahead and use LCO. Leave it, change it, opposite. And now that I have an addition problem, I can go ahead and follow the flowchart for adding integers. When multiplying and dividing my rational numbers, if I have the same sign, my answer is going to be positive. So these would be situations when I have 3 times 4 or negative 5 times negative 6. No matter what, my answer will always be positive. If I have different signs, my answer is going to be negative. So if I have negative 8 times 3, or 4 times negative 9, those answers will always be negative. We also went over the order of operations. You might have seen PEMDAS before. The P stands for parentheses. Those are any types of grouping. We want to make sure that we are simplifying those sections first. E is exponent. M and D go together, multiplying and dividing. Same thing with my A and S. Those guys go together, adding and subtracting. However, when you have a numerical expression like the one here, you can just go ahead and plug that into your calculator. Let me just pull that out. So my problem says 6 plus the quantity of 5 plus 8 times 4. So in my calculator, I can just put 6 plus, do the parentheses, 5 plus 8 times 4. And you can see right there, I get 58 as my answer. We can do the same thing for this problem. I have 9 times 2 divided by 2 plus 1. And you can see my answer there is 6. Go away. Go away. For word problems, it's important to know what kind of keywords are telling us what operations we are dealing with. I have a table here. I want you guys to try to think of some words that mean these different operations. Some words that I came up with for addition, you could see the word add, altogether, and, both, increased by, plus, sum, and total. For subtraction, you could have seen decreased by, less than, minus, take away, or reduce. Multiplication of is really popular. Each group, double. You might even see times or product. And then division, you might see words like half, per, as much, equal, sharing, and quotient. You might have had other words. In addition to the words that I had, there are plenty of them. So using those words, we're going to go ahead and solve these word problems below. It is important that you are underlining the important information, identifying any key words, and really make sure that you are answering the question. So Stephanie is baking pies and spent $23.97 on pecans. The pecans cost $7.99 per pound. How many did Stephanie buy? So my important information, we know the amount that she spent. We know how much they cost per pound. The question is, how many pounds did Stephanie buy? So we can go ahead and take these two numbers, $23.97 and $7.99, and divide them to see what answer we get. If you're unable to do that in your head, you can go ahead and just plug into a calculator. What is $23.97 divided by $7.99? You should get 3. However, going back to the question, are we actually answering it? How many pounds did Stephanie buy? Stephanie bought 3 pounds. In our next problem, Mike is buying steaks that each weigh 3/4 of a pound. How much do 6 steaks weigh? So again, my important information, each weigh 3/4 of a pound. We want to know how much do 6 steaks weigh. So we can take these two numbers, 6 and 3/4, and multiply them by each other. If you're unable to do this in your head, again, take out your calculator. What is 6 times 3/4? 4.5. Making sure we're going through and answering our question. 6 steaks weigh 4.5 pounds. A rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different kinds of units. So for example, if I have 100 words for every 2 minutes, we're dealing with 2 different types of units that are in some form of relationship with one another. When a rate is simplified, so it has a denominator of 1, it is called a unit rate. So in order to find the unit rate, you have to write the two quantities as a ratio or a fraction. And then you want to divide both the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. This will create a denominator of 1. So going back to that 100 words for every 2 minutes, if I divide the top and the bottom by 2, I would get 50 words per 1 minute. So you can see that my denominator is 1. All I did was just take that 2 and divide it by the top and bottom. So I want to be able to compare these two different types of paper here with their prices. So we're trying to find the unit price. So we're going to put the money on top and the number of sheets on the bottom. So in my first scenario, I have 99 cents over 100. I want to know how much it will cost for 1 sheet of paper. So I'll take that 99 cents and divide it by 100. 0.009, right? Yeah. And then you also want to know for 500 sheets, how much is that going to cost for just 1 sheet of paper? So we'll do 429 divided by 500. And you'll get 0.00858. So which one is the better deal? Again, you're going to want to spend less money on paper. So the one that is cheaper, the 500 sheets, would be the better buy. Same thing for this one. We want to take the price and divide it by how many ounces of crackers. I'm rounding there. And the same thing for the second one. So which one is the better buy? The 12 ounces of crackers.